Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial on CSS. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at media queries. And before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to get more videos, get notifications for the videos once I upload them. And do like the video, leave a comment if possible, and let me know what you think and what sort of videos you would want me to create content around. Okay, so today we are looking at media queries. So media queries help us create responsive websites or designs. Okay, so when you go on a website, let me just show you guys this. Okay, so if you go on a website, so for example, here we have Unsplash. Okay, so this is the home page for the website Unsplash, where you can get like your images and things like that. Okay, so this is my browser looking at Unsplash. So depending on the size of the screen, okay, the website is able to properly adjust itself, right? So in short, it's responsive, looking at the screen size. Okay, so if let's say we reduce the screen size like this, okay, the more we reduce, you see that even the images are what, responsive, right? So we're now able to just see 2 columns instead of 3. Okay, so the more you adjust, okay, it still continues to adjust, and now we're able to just see 1 image, right? So this website is very responsive. Okay, now to achieve something like this, as you are designing your own websites, it's best to use media queries. Okay, so we do use media queries when we want to achieve such results. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, we'll now dive into VS Code and just be able to see how we can utilize these media queries. Okay, right, so this is VS Code, and I've got 3 images. I downloaded these images from Unsplash. Okay, so I downloaded these images from Unsplash. So you just go like on their home page and just open. Okay, let me refresh the page. Right, when you go on the home page, these are the images. So there is this image. Okay, there's this image by, I think this is Iskra Photography. Yeah, so the credit goes to Iskra Photography. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Then there is also Peter Hamann. Yeah, so I got this image from Peter Hamann. Then there was another one. I think it's, I don't know if it's here. Okay, so this last one. Okay, so we've got this one, Jiga Panchao. Okay. Yeah, so we are working with these 3 images, and those are the individuals that own these images. Okay, so we're going to utilize them in on our website. So we just create something simple that we can look at and just see how we can implement those media queries. Okay, so the first thing that we do is we create an HTML file rather. So the name, I'll call it index.html. Okay, let me zoom in a bit so that you're able to see. Okay, like that. Okay, so we've created a file called index.html, and we need a CSS file as well, because we're looking at CSS and we're going to use CSS to store these HTML elements. Okay, so just create a file folder, then we'll call it CSS. Okay, so inside this folder, that's where I will now create a new file called style.css. Okay, so we have everything in place. Okay, so when we go to our HTML, we're just going to generate the boilerplate HTML5. Okay, this is the boilerplate for HTML. Okay, so we just say media queries as the title of our page. Let me beautify that properly. Okay, yeah, like that. So we can now open our page. Okay, let me just open our website. Okay, so there we've got media queries, but on the page we have nothing at the moment because the body is empty, right? So let's now start just packing things, right? So the first div, we're going to create a container. Okay, so this container is the one that's going to hold all the other containers. Okay, so this other container, will just call it a card. Okay, it will be a card. So this card will have an image. We'll have an image coming from a source, and it will have an alternative. Okay, so I just say first for the alternative, won't dive deep into that. Okay, so the first one, okay, we'll go into the assets and get the first image. Okay, and the second one will just be a title. Okay, so we just have like an H1, say image 1. Okay, and the second one is just a paragraph, so we just say this is an image. I think that's all. Or we can just say this is a beautiful image. Okay, then we'll have a button. Okay, so we're going to have a button like that, which says read more. Okay, so we do have that card, right? Let's verify. Okay, like that. So now we want to have 3 of these. So what we're going to do is we just copy these and paste. Okay, copy these and paste. All right, so this image, we're going to change it to the second one, then the third one also change to the third one. Okay, so image 1, then this one is image 2, then image 3. This is a clean image. Just say this is a clean image to just differentiate. Okay, then this is a fantastic image. All right, then we save our work. When you go on our website, okay, you see the images are very big like that. Okay, so we have to reduce the images. All right, so go to our CSS. Let's add our CSS here. We link it. Okay, so we'll go to our CSS like that. Then we can now style everything. Okay, so before we make any styles, okay, what I like doing is removing the default padding and margin. Okay, so I just remove the default padding and margin, and also just apply box sizing. Okay, so here says 0 as well, and box sizing, box border box like that. Okay, then when we do that, okay, we'll now be able to target this card so that we can get to the image. Okay, so we'll say card and image. Okay, so the image will have a width of, let's say, 300 pixel like that. Okay, so it's loading like that. Maybe we can even increase it to 400. Okay, increase it to 400. I think this is better. Yeah, this is better. Now it's just a matter of styling it. Okay, so with the image, we'll have a border radius of 10 pixels like that. Okay, it's loading. Okay, we have 10 pixel like that, right? Okay, then with the card itself, okay, we want to add some padding inside the card. So we just say card like that, say padding of, let's say, 20 pixel padding. Then we have a border of 1 pixel solid gray. Okay, so we even reduce the opacity of the gray bit. Then also have a border radius of 10 pixels so that we are consistent in terms of the border radius. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's that, right? So the reason why we are seeing it extend that side is because it's a div. Okay, it's a div, so we'll be able to achieve what we want when we start applying media queries and all that stuff. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think the next thing is just styling this part. Okay, so we can get a proper font. Okay, so we can just go to fonts.go.com to just get a nice font that we can use. Okay, before we get to the font, we can start that button. Okay, so the button is inside the card. Okay, so we can just come here and say card. Okay, then button. Right, so the button will have the padding of top should be 5 pixel, on the sides just say 20 pixel. Okay, then to have a border of none, we don't want it to have a border. Then to have background color of blue. Okay, then the color of the text on the button should be white. Okay, let's check it out. It's loading. Okay, it's like that. We can even create more spaces. Yeah, on top I think we can just put 20, then here 30. Okay. Okay, something like that. All right, then we can just apply maybe some padding to the paragraph so that it creates some spaces. Okay, so we just do that, card, then paragraph, so say padding. Okay, so on top and bottom 10 pixel, then left and right will just be 0 like that. Okay, okay, like that. Right, so we can now get a font from here. I think even this one is okay. We can get Loboto. Okay, we get the font. What we want is to embed the code. It's web. Okay, so we just import it. Okay, so this is the link that we need. So we just press it on top there like that. Okay, let me close it. Okay, like that. And then we can now apply it by calling this font family. Okay, so we can just create a body, then put it like that. Right, so when we go on our site, it should work. Okay, like that. All right, I think that's okay. Then for the button, we can add a border radius as well. Okay, so we can just say border radius of 10 pixels as well. Okay, like that. All right, then from here, I think the best one as well, what we can do is just apply some padding on the body. Okay, so top and bottom just say maybe 50 pixel and the sides 0. Okay, so that we have spaces at the bottom as well as the top. Yeah, just that. Okay, all right, I think this is good. Okay, we can work with this. All right, now let's get into the display property and also just looking at media queries, which is the main purpose for this tutorial. Okay, so when we go to our HTML, you will see that we have the main div, which is the container. There's a class of container. Then we have the div children, okay, of card. Right, so now what we want is to create 3 columns, okay, for these items. Right, so we learned in one of the CSS tutorials that we looked at, we learned of a property called display that helps us convert block elements into inline elements. Okay, so this one we'll call it container, okay, because we're targeting the container. So say container, then say display, and say flex. Okay. Immediately I apply these properties, what will happen to this is they'll be aligned like that. Okay, they will align themselves like that. Now we want to center them, so there is a property called justify content, then you say center. Okay, and you can say center. When you say center, they will center themselves in the middle like that. Okay, then we can add spaces in between. There is a property called gap. Okay, this property is called gap. Then you can specify, okay, we want 20 pixels in between those. Okay, here, right? So you see the change, right? That, see, so we've achieved a great result here. Okay, this is a great result. Now on the button, I think let's just, we can add the hover effect on the button, so that even I think before even adding the hover effect, I can just add it here. Okay, cursor will say pointer, so that whenever someone brings the mouse there, okay, the cursor, person can clearly see that. Okay, but this is a clickable button, right? Okay, so we have these three cards. All right, we've created our cards. Now the issue that's there is when we want to view our page, okay, on, let's say, mobile phone, it's not responsive. You've seen that. So the other content is being hidden, okay, like that. I'm sure you can see it on the sides. Now we want the content to work the way that Unsplash does it, right? We want it to be responsive like that, the way Unsplash does it. Okay, so it does that. You can now see the images being responsive like that. Okay, like that. So that's what we want. Okay, so to achieve that, okay, to achieve that, we're going to use what we call media queries. Okay, so now let's just dive into what media queries are. Okay, so with media queries, you can add them at the bottom there. Okay, so the way we present media queries is by starting with an at, then you say media. Okay, so the moment I write media here, media like that, you're able to see a prompt, right? Now here, when I click the prompt, we're able to see screen. Okay, now there are different ones you can use. You can either use all, you can either use screen, or you can either use print, okay, depending on the device that you're using. Okay, so since we're looking at websites and we're not dealing with printing, we look at screen. Okay, so you can target screen, but you just don't end there. You now specify the size. Okay, so you say and, then you say max width, or you can say mean width, depending on the properties that you want to apply. So you can use max width or mean width, depending on the properties that you want to apply. Okay, so when we go to our website, okay, what you notice is that when our website reaches a certain point, the website no longer becomes responsive, right? So we want it, when it reaches a certain point, it becomes responsive. So I think the best one would be maybe 1380 pixels, right? Yeah, so we can use that point. Okay, so here we can say 1380 pixels like that. Okay, so what this means is that when we reach a maximum point of 13 pixels, certain properties that we're going to add inside here should apply. Okay, so one of the properties that we want to change is that of the container. Okay, so we remove everything here, right? So a property called flex wrap. Okay, and we're going to say wrap. What this does is that it now converts that row into a column, this. Okay, so if we save the work, okay, and we come on our website, okay, it's loading. Okay, we've seen what has happened. So the moment that we reach a certain point, which is 1380 check, it comes like that, right? So it now becomes responsive. So when you drop it like that, it becomes responsive. Okay, like that. You've seen that's how now responsive our site is, right? So on mobile, it's now more responsive, and on this can be maybe a tablet, and this is a desktop, right? So now our site is what? Responsive. And this is the work that Media Queries does. You are able to specify certain widgets and change certain properties depending on the screen size that you have. And it's not just about changing flex items, right? It can go even up to like colors. Okay, so for example, remember our buttons are the background of what? Blue, right? So we can say, okay, when we have a maximum width of 1380 pixel, we want to change that background. Okay, so you only put the properties that you want to change in the Media Queries. Okay, so we want to change it to let's say gray, for example. Okay, so this means when we have that, it changes to gray. Seen that? So when now we are viewing our website on a bigger screen, you see that it's what? Blue. But the moment it enters that breakpoint, it changes to gray like that. Okay, and that's how we use Media Queries to just be able to create responsive websites and change certain features based on the screen sizes that we have. Okay, I think that's it with Media Queries. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and leave a comment for me. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.